Do you like my Minnie Mouse shirt? It's from Disney Cruise Line.
Do you like my golden fox ramen?
I do. I wish that I was wearing mine. Hello everyone, welcome back to Foster the Meeple, a channel all about
board games
and
fungus.
Exactly. We are here today to do another pumped up Kickstarter. Today's pumped up Kickstarter preview is on Mycelia from Split Stone Games, who kindly sponsored this video.
Indeed.
So thank you to Split Stone Games. Now, as per usual with our previews, we are going to go into a little bit of overview, and then we are going to have a bit of a discussion about this game, about mushrooms, shroomies, fungus, Mycelia. Let's get into the overview.
In a world where fungi reign, a captivating journey of growth, strategy, and survival unfolds. Welcome to Mycelia, the dynamic game of tactics and competition for space and resources. Immerse yourself in the life cycle of fungi, where creation, expansion, and rebirth intertwine. Grow your own mushroom kingdom using cunning tactics to outwit your opponents. On your turn, you'll have the power to make 2 strategic moves from a selection of 6 actions. Will you harness the power of decay, unlocking special actions as your mushrooms gracefully wither away? Or perhaps you'll master the art of stealing spores, ensuring your dominance in this intricate ecosystem. Forge your unique playing style as you evolve throughout the game. Play aggressively, disrupting your rivals' networks and stealing their resources, or adopt a more defensive approach, safeguarding your territory and nurturing your own precious spores. The ever-changing board is a canvas of possibility. Triangle tiles representing various environments and nutrients await your strategic touch, allowing you to craft your ideal mushroom kingdom. Mycelia's captivating botanical-style illustrations bring over 69 real-world mushrooms to life. Explore the wild beauty of these fungi as you embark on your quest for dominance.
And we're back, and the camera is zoomed out a little bit, and now the game is there. Movie magic. All right, Jeffy, let's talk about Mycelia, shall we? I'm going to give kind of like a little...
Was it fun, Gus?
What?
She'll get there eventually.
Was it fun, Gus? Oh. Good one, Jeff. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So I'm just going to give a quick rundown of how the game plays, basically. So Mycelia is for 1 to 4 players, and it is pretty much just like an area control game. So what you're going to be doing and what you're trying to do is you're trying to grow different types of mushrooms in your player area. So you have 5 spots on your player mat, and each of those spots can be designated to a different type of mushroom card that you have in your hand. What you're trying to do in order to end the game and to score more points is you are actually trying to decay those mushrooms. And when you do that, you get to tuck a decayed mushroom in behind that section of your player mat. You can tuck multiple mushrooms behind the player mat, but you're trying to get 1 on each of the 5 spots, and that triggers game end. So you're like, well, how do you even get mushrooms? I'm so glad you asked. In this game, you are going to be going back and forth, turn by turn, taking 2 actions on your turn. There's a lot of different things that you can do on your turn. Perhaps you are moving. Perhaps you are sporing some of your mushrooms, and they're spitting their spores all over the place so that you can then eventually fruit new mushrooms. And you can also explore. So the game starts off as this kind of star shape. All of the tiles are triangles, and so each tile has a different color, different type of environment. There's red, yellow, brown, green, and black, and the black ones are wild. Crazy. So basically you can pull out a new triangle and place that on the board, and so the board is forever expanding. And when you spore, you are putting out your little spores. They blow with the wind. So you have a wind die, and you're rolling a die, and it'll tell you the direction that you need to spore. So when you finally are ready to fruit one of the mushrooms, which you have in your hand, it'll tell you what types of spores, what types of environments those spores need to come from in order to be able to play out or fruit one of those mushrooms. And the tricky part of that is the spores on the board need to be connected And what's another interesting thing about that is somebody can block your connection if they control that area, right? So there's a lot of like push and pull, give and take of I need to spore, but you don't really have a ton of control over where the spores go because they're just going to go where the wind blows.
Thematic.
That's how nature works. And you're just doing that turn by turn, making decisions, taking 2 actions, gaining more cards, sporing, fruiting, discovering, moving. And that in a nutshell is how that works. Now there's a little bit more to it than that. That in a mushroom cap. That in a mushroom cap is how it works. There's a little bit more to it than that, but that is kind of the general idea.
Yeah, each fungus or mushroom, whatever you want to call it, spores twice, and then you can decay it.
Yes, that is a good point.
Yeah.
So each type of mushroom has a different number of spores that it can put out, anywhere between like maybe 1 all the way up to 4 or 5. But each mushroom itself can only do that 2 times, and that's when you would do an action to decay that mushroom.
Represents the life cycle of a mushroom.
Exactly.
Or a fungus.
And each of the mushrooms have...
We keep saying mushroom. Is it fungus or mushroom?
I'm just going to say mushroom, okay?
You know what we're talking about.
You know what we're talking about. Each of the mushrooms has a specific number of victory points that it's going to score you at the end, and that's basically what you're trying to do. You're trying to get as many points.
And there's an ability, too. There's an ability.
Yes, and then there's a decay action ability, either instant or something that might happen at the end of the game, or an upgrade or something like that. But you're trying to decay them. You're trying to collect as many mushrooms as you can to score as many points as possible. There's also like insects that you can collect from the board, and those insects might allow you to like move somebody's mother mushroom, or as Jeff kept saying, mothership.
Yeah.
From the mushroom aliens, it's the mothership. So you can do that. You also get a point for every 2 insects that you have at the end of the game. They can also refresh the mushroom market. So that's another way to score points. Whoever ends the game, the first one to get 5 decayed mushrooms, also gets 5 points for ending it. But here's the interesting thing, I think, about it, is that you can rush this game and just try and get a mushroom in each of your 5 slots and then decay them and hope that you have the most powerful mushrooms. Or you can decay multiple mushrooms in the same spots, just kind of watching your partner next to you or whoever you're playing with to be like, are they close to ending the game? Because if they are, then I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just going to try and get as many points as possible. So the game is going to change pretty much every time that you play it.
Yeah, it felt like, this is going to sound weird if you've not played this game, but I think it's relatively accurate. It felt like playing an abstract game, but it had a theme around it. Yeah. Does that make sense?
It does.
Like, it felt like playing some of those games, like, you know, those puzzly-esque tile movement type games, but it was thematic in the way that the game worked. Yeah. It was really unique puzzly type feel. But again, like, everything in that game felt very thematic. Like the way the wind dice influenced the spores, the life cycle of the fungus or the mushrooms. Like,
and I think one thing that we did notice as well, because typically in a 2-player game, when it comes down to area control, you are like, oh, well, it doesn't
branch
always
off and
work.
do your
You
own
branch
thing.
off and do your own thing.
You don't
However,
interact.
because of the wind die, you are forced to interact with each other. There were times when I had to put out my spores in places where Jeff already had his mushrooms and stuff like that. And so then he was controlling my spores, and there was nothing I could do about it at that point. It's because that's just the way the wind blows, man.
Yeah, I mean, there is definitely a way. I mean, given that the wind dice is a dice and it's randomized, there would be instances where you could play this game at 2-player, and it would be that, wherein you just happen to roll, and it does push you in different directions, and then that happens. But with the randomization of the dice, it really, again, it forces that interaction in a way that other two... Because I very much like area control games, and Jamie tends to not. So always finding unique ways to get area control to the table is beneficial, and I thought that wind dice really, enhance that area control mechanism for us.
Yeah, I also think this game does fall into the category of very easy to learn, but very strategic, hard to master. But it also does have a little bit of luck involved with that die. You know, you get to pick and choose the mushrooms that you take into your hands.
Yeah,
So
there's
you
a
can
bit of a
kind of,
market.
there's a bit of a market. You can kind of plan it out. You're like, okay, I see where I have my spores and I see that mushroom up there. I can make that mushroom. I can fruit that mushroom right now. It also involves some like timing, because you need to make sure that you've got the right spores in order to put a mushroom out, and then you have to like make sure that you're sporing it so that you can decay. So like you need to almost think a couple of steps ahead when you're playing it. It's also super thematic, and you know, personally, I'm a human that does not like mushrooms.
It's valid.
Ew, gross.
I mean,
but I do like nature, food-wise,
yeah.
but I do like nature. And so if you're into nature themes, if you're into abstract themes, I would say that this could be a good game for you that has a little bit of theme around it.
Yeah. Again, transparency-wise, we played this at 2-player. I think it would get really cutthroat and tight at 3 or 4, just with the size of the map and how, again, that area control piece comes in, because, again, you move... I'm going to call it your mothership because I think that's funny. But you move your mothership around, and that like basically gives you area control. Like it trumps everything else. So you're able to manipulate that mothership around. I can't call it a mothership, but
Mother mushroom.
Mother mushroom.
Mama mushroom.
You move your mama mushroom around. And at 4-player, I feel like that would get crazy.
Yeah, because no matter the player count, you're always starting with that star in the middle, and you do build it out kind of as you go, as I mentioned, and the tiles that are coming up are all random, but it's still a pretty tight space. So if you are playing at 4 players, it's going to get mean.
Going to get nasty.
It's going to get mean. So if you're not into mean games, I think just in general, an area control game has innate meanness into it, because you want to control the area. It just is what it is. But yeah, you're just trying to collect as many points as you possibly can by growing them shroomies. So Jeff, who might this game not be for?
Depending on player count. If you don't like a bit of meanness, probably not something you want to check out. Again, like given that at 2-player, that would probably be the player count where the meanness is
it got mean in our game.
The most minimal. However, given that there's a random dice roll, it kind of forces that to happen. So if that's something that you're not really into, then might not be for you. But otherwise, I think that's really the only thing. Yeah,
that would be the biggest.
Or if the theme doesn't hit, because it is very thematic
nature-y. I do also want to say all of the B-roll and everything that you're going to see, this is a very prototype version of the game that we do have, so many of the components could change as well. But that is Mycelia. Now, if you're interested in Mycelia, we will leave all of the information down below. It is scheduled to go live on September 7th. If any of that changes, we will make sure to put the details below, but you can follow the campaign and all of that good stuff.
Indeed.
Now, if you're interested in buying board games, not this one. We've already talked about it. You gotta go to Kickstarter for that one. Links below. But if you're interested in buying other board games, you should first start by checking your friendly local gaming store. And for us, that is...
the Boardroom Game Cafe.
Heck yeah, it is. You like snacks?
I do.
Perfect. Where can you get snacks?
MunchPak.
You sure can. Thank you so much for watching. If you like what you see,
please subscribe.
Hope to see you again soon. And now we say goodbye. Goodbye.
Later days.
I forgot who it was by. Today's pumped up Kickstarter...
Off to a fantastic start.
Yeah. Today's pumped up Kickstarter preview is on Mycelia from... I forgot it. Split Stone Games. Okay, one more time.